what we did in the previous class. Can anyone briefly explain? Anyone? I'm waiting. What did we do in the previous class?
Ma'am, we have created authentication controller and authentication middleware and user model, and then authentication for routes. But we were not able to run it as it was throwing the error like module not found.
All right. So did you people try to debug all those errors?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am,
All right.
I have tried, ma'am.
Those were just the naming errors as far as I think. Yeah. Does anyone wants to ask something if they are raising their hands? All right, Sakshi, do you want to ask something? I have error. Anna. Well, where do you have the error, Anna? Can you tell us? Can you mind?
When I am running it, hello, can you hear me?
Yeah. Can you please speak a bit louder?
Yeah, when I'm trying to run it and getting this connected to server and connected to MongoDB also, but there is some error with the semicolon and all, but I'm not able to resolve it.
Can you copy paste the error in the chat box?
Yeah, okay.
All right. After a few minutes, I will ask you people if anyone you will have any kind of error in your programs, then you people can share your screen and I'll help you to resolve your errors. And I have error with testing the API. What kind of error are you getting, Kanhaiya? Is this error occurring inside your terminal or in the postman?
In the terminal.
And I do one thing, copy paste the entire code in a text file, that's the notepad, and try to send it to the team. And I will ask the team to send your entire code to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Yes, Surya, what is the error in this time?
Ma'am, it's showing importing error on the terminal, ma'am.
Can you please repeat?
Ma'am, it's showing an importing error on my screen. Wait a minute, ma'am.
All right. So I'm showing you people some of the things, and after that, still, if you get all those errors, then you can share your screen. All right.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah. All right. See, over here in the previous class, what did we do? In the auth controller.js, we were using these export in the very front of the name of the functions, isn't it? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever we write the export keyword in the very beginning, so that at the very end, we do not have to write export default and then the function name. So when we are importing these functions in some other file, we have to place the name of these functions inside the curly braces. Like inside this auth routes, in order to use the register and login function, we have placed them inside the curly braces. Why? Because in the, yeah, over here in this place, we have placed the export. Understood? But if you write them in this way, export default, and then you write the name of login, comma, register in this way. Over there, you do not need to mention the curly braces over here. If you write the export in this way. And here, what you have to do is just remove the curly braces from here. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And see, inside this middleware as well, to one function, I did not provide the export keyword in the beginning. But to the another function, I have exported using default. Over here in the middleware, I have provided, I did not provide any export keyword in the beginning of the authenticate, isn't it? But inside the authorize function, I have provided the export keyword in the beginning. And at the end, I have exported the authenticate function by using the export default, which is why inside this routers, since I have placed the export keyword in the beginning, I have placed the authorize function inside the curly braces. Now, are you people being able to understand why was that import error being occurred?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
All right. And one more thing that in the previous class, the error was occurring that whenever you use this module type, just don't forget to write the extension name as well, that is .js. Otherwise, it will throw an error. So let's run this. Okay. All right, in the previous login, right? You can just write it as the previous one.
मैम आपने उधर कर्ली ब्रैकेट हटाए नहीं थे.
Yeah. I got the like server is running on port this and connected to MongoDB. So now what we will do, you can open your Thunder client extension as well, or else you can use your Postman application. What was the port number that we were using?
8888.
Okay. And the endpoints were API and then auth routes. Auth routes. API. What were the fields that we have mentioned in the previous class? If I want the user to register himself.
Ma'am,
Name
username,
and password.
role, ma'am.
Okay.
Username, password, and role.
Username Ram, password Shreeram, and then role. And what were the two options from which the user has to provide the role?
User or admin.
And user.
All right. Send it. But the true is refused. Why? Okay. Are you people being able to run the code?
No, ma'am.
Okay, there is the error. No, it's not there. Send it again. Why is it not?
Ma'am, can you
Ma'am,
please
should we
open
create?
the .env file?
Ma'am, should we create a variable with name port and give it a port number?
Ma'am, in the port, ma'am, remove the semicolon. Now it will work.
Okay.
Restart the server, ma'am.
See. Got it? User registered successfully. And if we write login as the API endpoint and we will provide the same username and password, we are receiving the token, isn't it? We will copy it and then here we will change the API endpoint. What were our API endpoints? User and admin, isn't it? So here we will write user. And from the post method, we will provide the get method. And then inside the here in the auth, we'll go to the bearer, and here we'll paste the token, and then we will send it. See, here we are getting welcome authenticated user. Why? Because the API endpoint was user. Now, did you understand? Or are there any doubts?
Okay.
So here, for today, one more thing that we are going to discuss is the Google authorization, that is the open authorization OAuth. So does anyone know what does this exactly mean? Any idea, rough idea?
I think login with Google.
Exactly. Nowadays, in many websites, people might have seen that whenever we try to log in into a website, over there, instead of providing our username and password, which is very difficult for us to remember nowadays, we choose the option whether to log in with Facebook or to log in with Google, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So that thing has been introduced in order to provide the username and password manually. What happens over there is the entire username and password gets stored in the database of Google along with the profile images, etc. All the data inside your email ID, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever you write some of the codes inside your backend, so that the backend enables the user in order to use the open authorization. For that purpose, what you need to have inside your backend code is you need to have, let's close this since we are not requiring it anymore. So inside the package.json file, you need to install these two dependencies, that is passport and this one, passport Google OAuth 20. Understood? Shall I provide
ma'am.
it to you inside the chat box?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So you need to install these two dependencies, and then two more things that you need to have is your Google Client ID and Google Client Secret. And now you people will ask me, ma'am, from where are we going to get these Google Client ID and Secret? So just go to your Google Clouds platform. From here, you are going to get your From here, you are going to get your Google Client ID and Google Client secret key. Because without this, you are not going to get the output of your open authorization. Understood? So if you try to get your IDs over here, click on Start Free, agree and continue. So here you have to provide your entire details, and then here are these navigation menu. Are you seeing this?
Yes, ma'am.
Go to the APIs and services. Yeah. Here inside the credential, you are going to get your Google Client ID and password after creating these. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
And if you are creating a new one, then you can also select this create credentials. Now, do you have any rough idea from where are you going to get this Google Client ID and Google Client secret? Coming on to the passport.js. Over here, you have to write import passport from passport. And then I will import. Hello. There is a library named strategy inside this passport Google OAuth 20 that I have just provided you in the chat box. So this one will be used in order to access the data from the Google strategy.
Ma'am,
So here I am going to write.
Ma'am, as we used the import function, so I think we have to give passport.js.
See, passport.j, when you will write, when you are having some kind of file inside this entire folder. But here, what is passport? Passport here is the dependency that you are having inside your package.json file. That is this one. I want to import this dependency.
Oh, okay.
Understood? And
Yes,
this
ma'am.
one, I have named it as passport.js.
Yes, ma'am.
Here I will write strategy. So as Google strategy. Or you can just write strategy or as well. That will not make any error. And then import. Just in this file, I have made the model that is user.js. Just the way I have made user model.js in the previous folder, right? Here inside the user.js, I have provided name, email, password, and role as the fields. So here what I am going to do inside the passport.js, I am going to import the user from the provided files and folder. Inside the models, I will import the user.js. Here you have to provide .js extension. Why? Because here this user is the file. That is a JavaScript file. Understood? Am I being clear to you people?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Understand.
Here I will write import JWT from JSON web token. And then I will import .env from .env. Then import. You also have to install the path dependency inside your backend folder. Import. Here I'm going to provide a file URL to path from URL. Why am I using this? I will tell you. When I will try to use the data present inside this .env file. So here I will write const file name is equal to file URL to path. Here I will write import dot meta dot URL. And then I will write const directory name, that is dir name, is equal to path dot directory name. Then here I will provide the file name. So the reason behind me doing all these things is that whenever we will see the one of the advantage or the disadvantage, you can take it in any ways that using this passport.js, we are not being able to test it using this Postman application. Understood? So the need of Postman application is nowhere there while we are working with passport.js. So how can we test it? We can test this by using this entire API endpoint inside a particular browser. Say, for example, you have to go over here and you can write anything like any data, like HTTP, followed by the localhost name, like the way we do. And then we have to provide certain URL endpoints, which is why we have provided the file URL to path, because we are going to use this URL in order to test our data. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So here, in order to use the data that is present inside my .env file, I will write .env dot which method?
Config.
So here I will provide the path as path dot resolve. Here I will provide the directory name, comma, dot env. So this one is going to be inside the curly braces since this is an object. And then I will use the password. And I will use the same method that is used in order to use the Google strategy. So here I will write new Google strategy. Inside this, I need to provide all those things, that is the client ID and client secret. For that, I will write client ID. Tell me, what should I write if I am if I have provided the client ID inside my .env file?
Like process.env, ma'am.
Process.env dot Google client ID. After this client ID, I will provide the client secret. And this one also I will write process dot env dot Google client secret. And finally, I will provide the callback URL. Can you tell me why are we providing this callback URL? Any guesses? Any guesses?
For saving the data in a database.
No. See, whenever we try to log in inside a website using the open authorization, what happens? Whenever we select our Google account, right? Over there, when we select our Google account, we get redirected to our front-end website, isn't it? Say, for example, let me provide you if I open the ChatGPT, right? Here I will try to log in. So what is happening? If I will log out, and I will try to log in again. So here is the option to log in using the Google Open Authorization, right? So whenever I will click on this, I will get a lot of options. So whenever I will click on any of this, see, I am being redirected to the front end website, isn't it?
मैम ये
ma'am.
किस वर्क किस तरह से करता है बैकएंड पे?
That's what I am trying to tell you people. Let me write the code entirely and then I will provide you. And since we are getting the front end website after selecting our email ID, that is what required inside this callback URL. So that whenever we are providing any kind of front end to our website, say for example, inside this .env file, I have provided the front end URL as 3000, which means what? The front end of my website is running on the port number 3000 and the back end of my website is running on the port number 5000. Got my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So whenever we will select any of our email IDs, then we will get redirected to our front end URL. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Or do you need me to show another example? Let me write the code entirely and then I will show another example to you. So for here, I will provide the front end URL in order to get redirected to my website. Here I will provide process dot env dot. Here I will provide backend URL, and then I will provide the endpoints, that is API followed by auth, then OAuth. I guess somebody has kept their mic open. Can you please switch it off? Followed by Google, and then I will provide this callback. So we have made this object. After this, I will create another async function. Here I will write access token. After the access token, I am going to provide the refresh token. And then I will provide the profile. And then I will provide done. As of now, you people can think that we are not going to use this access token and refresh token. You people can remove them as well. But inside this function, we are going to use this profile and done. And why are we using this? I will tell you while I will write the function. Here I will provide a try catch block. And inside the try catch block, I will provide let user is equal to await user dot find one, and here I will provide the email of the user dot email is equal to profile dot emails dot value. Okay. If people didn't tell me, I didn't provide the arrow mark over here. And here I will provide a condition. If not user, can anybody explain me what am I doing in line number 24? Am I making any random guess?
We find the user email ID in our database.
Not inside our database, but we are finding the user's email ID, which is provided inside the Google's database. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
I have told you, right? Google has its own database. So whenever we try to access the data which is present inside the Google's database, over there we have to access it in this way. That is email, and then we have to provide profile dot emails and then value. We have to fetch the exact value of the email. Understood?
Ma'am, why we provide index value as 0 here? Because
We have provided. Yeah, say.
मैम अभी हमने स्प्लिट फंक्शन यूज नहीं किया है कि इंडेक्स इसकी स्प्लिट हो फिर 0.
See, that has not been stored in any kind of index value. That, yeah, like it has been stored, but we are using this 0 because in Google's database, we are fetching the data and that is being stored inside our email. So what we will do it just in the following way. Let's go through the code and then I will tell you why are we writing this 0 inside this emails. Because the Google stores many email inside this, inside its database, right? So it has an array of emails. Over there, we just have to fetch the very first value that is present inside the array, which is why we are taking the index number as 0.
Okay.
Here I will write user. Like, see, if the user does not exist, then what we have to do? We have to provide an await keyword, and then we will do user dot create. Here I will write name, profile dot display name, and then I will write email, profile dot emails. Here again I'm going to write 0 dot value. Why are we writing this? Because while the email ID is already present inside our open authorization, that is the thing that I have just shown you people in the previous page. We have seen it, right? While logging in inside this ChatGPT. And here I will provide the password. And the password is going to be OAuth placeholder. Or any other password you can provide here as per your wish. Here I will provide the role as user. Why am I providing the role as user?
Maybe it is default, ma'am.
All right. So here I will write const token. And here we are creating another token. Whenever the user will try to log in using the open authorization, then also we will provide the server to create a token. So here I will write jwt dot. We use which function in order to create the token? Or I can also ask this as which function is used in order to provide a signature to a token?
Sign.
Right. So here I will write jwt.sign. Using this, the same thing that we did in the previous class, that I will provide the ID as user dot ID and then process dot env dot JWT secret. And then what is the last thing? What was the last thing?
I think expire, ma'am. The token expire.
And I will provide it in days over here. It is 7 days. And here I will assign it to user dot token is equal to token. And then I will use the done function over here, which means it will check whether the function has successfully been completed or it has failed. And if it has been completed, then we will provide null as the first parameter, and then we will provide user as the second parameter if this entire function gets successfully completed. And if this function get rejected, then we will return the done function. And here we will provide error as the first parameter and then null as the second parameter. Understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Why? Because if the function successfully executes, then there will be no error, which is why we are placing the null parameter in the very beginning and the user's data will be returned in the second parameter. And if any error occurs over there, then the error will be occurred and no user data will be provided, which is the reason behind providing null as the second parameter. Got my point?
Yes, ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So let's save it. Now moving to our auth routes. So inside the auth routes, we will place two kind of routes. Here I will write router dot. Here I will provide the get function. Why? Since we are fetching the data from the Google's database, that is why we are using the get HTTP method. So here I will provide the API endpoint as auth and then Google, followed by, here I will write passport dot authenticate. Inside this, I will write Google as the first parameter, and then I will write scope. And this one is going to be inside the curly braces. And what do we mean by this scope? Inside this scope, we place all those data that we demand from Google's database. We demand the user's profile from Google's database. Along with that, we also demand the email of the user from the Google's database. Now, are you being able to understand why do we place the scope inside this object, that is the curly braces?
Yes, ma'am.
So we are done with this API endpoint. And second API endpoint that I will provide over here is router dot get, and then I will write the endpoint as auth followed by Google followed by callback. After this, I will write passport dot authenticate. Here I will write the first API endpoint as Google. Why we are writing this? Because we are sending it to the Google's database. And inside this, I will provide failure redirect, which means that if this process gets failed, then it will navigate again to the login page. This is why we are providing this login API endpoint to the failure redirect keyword. And then we will provide the session over here as false. Why? Because we are using the JSON web token over here. This is why we are providing the session as false, which directly means that we are not going to use sessions over here. Followed by this, we are going to provide a helper function. So I will pass a request and response inside this function as the parameter. Inside the function body, I will write const token is equal to, okay, it should be comma. Here I will write request dot user dot token. And then I will provide response dot redirect. Here I will provide the front end. Why? Because I have shown you right previously that whenever we are selecting any kind of email ID, we were being redirected to the front end of our website. So here I will write dollar process dot env dot front end URL. Followed by the API endpoint, OAuth success, followed by a ternary operator. Here I will provide the token is equal to, and the token that I have requested from the user, I will display it inside the URL, which is why in using the template literal, here I will provide the value of token. I will save it. Let's run the terminal. Node server dot change. So let's go to our browser. What was the backend URL? What was the backend port number?
5,000, ma'am.
5,000. And then in the server, I had the endpoint as API auth. API auth Google or Google. See, we are getting these three, like these 4 or 5 email IDs, right? And if I choose any one of them, I will continue. What is the port number that you are being able to see over here?
Front end.
3,000.
For 3,000, right?
3,000.
And 3,000 over here was the front end URL. And why are we getting this? Can't reach this page because we have
Ma'am,
not
because we
made
did
any
not-
kind of front end. Yeah, we did not made any kind of front end for this backend. And I have also told that a token is being generated. I'm showing it inside the URL. Followed by this, I have provided OAuth success and then token is equal to this. So this one is the entire token that is being generated whenever we are trying to log in using the Google's open authorization. The same way that I have written in over here inside the auth routes. See, front end URL, then auth success, after that token and the value of token. Understood till this much?
Yes, ma'am.
Any doubt?
No, ma'am.
In the previous class, one of you had asked me, ma'am, why do we use the next middleware, isn't it? The next function in the middleware. So did you try to find out why do we use that? Can anybody tell me why do we use the next method?
No, ma'am. for calling the next middleware after executing the current middleware.
Yes, Kishan. So if we do not use the next function inside the middleware, what will happen is that when we are having multiple middlewares inside a particular file, that next function will pass the control flow to the next middleware placed one after the another. Understood? So that is how the next method works whenever we are dealing with middlewares. So by this class, I have taught you people to create to log in using the to log in and register a user inside a Google inside a website, and then I have also taught you people to create the Google's open authorization, right? So by
Yes.
now, you people got the idea how to create the backend for a website and APIs.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So I want you people
Yes,
to
ma'am.
create the entire backend for your website. And since I have taught you the entire backend, from the next class onwards, I will start the front end of a website. And over at that time, you have to make the front end of the website. And I will be giving you the time in order to attach the front end to the back end. So I want you people to be ready with your entire back end, till which I have taught you people.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, ma'am.
So if there are no any doubt, you people can leave the meeting, or else you people can ask your doubts.
Ma'am, when we will be creating the UI?
From the next class onwards, I will try to teach you React.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
And if we are left with, yeah, I will share the entire code. No issue. No, don't worry. I will share it by today night only. So after learning the front end, if we are left with some of the time, I will try to teach you Multer as well. And that Multer is useful in order to upload the data from our respective devices to the website.
Using Cloudinary what, ma'am?
Yeah, using we can use Cloudinary as well, and we can use Multer as well.
Okay.
All right. Bye bye.
Thank you, ma'am.